Zack Snyder's Justice League is the long-awaited and highly anticipated director's cut of Justice League, which originally came out in 2017. This 4-hour version completes Zack Snyder's original vision for the film by cutting out a lot of the footage that was reshot for that film, while teasing what might have been should the DC Extended Universe had continued with Zack Snyder's plans for the franchise. As a result, we're given far more time to explore each of the characters from that film, while delivering a grand-scale epic story that is actually coherent and isn't trying to quickly skim over important plot points and character details in order to fit a constrained runtime. And I have to say, I sincerely wish that this had been the film that we'd received 4 years ago, as that 2017 film now comes across as the distorted Cliff Notes version of what Zack Snyder originally intended. Now, I'm sure a lot of people watching are aware of the behind-the-scenes drama that unfolded during the production of Justice League, but for those that aren't, the production of Justice League was incredibly troubled. Following the divided response to Zack Snyder's Batman vs Superman in 2016, Warner Brothers were looking to retool their then upcoming Justice League film, which was gearing up to start filming just after Batman vs Superman had released. The idea was to lighten up the tone and were working to reshape the movie into what Warner Brothers wanted, even as the movie finished filming and went hiring Avengers director Joss Whedon to come in and finish the movie. This meant that a lot of the movie would be reworked to match what the studio wanted, with a mandate that the movie had to be 2 hours long and had to keep its 2017 release date, as the parent company of Warner Brothers was undergoing a merger with AT&T, and if the movie was delayed into 2018, a lot of the Warner Brothers executives would miss out on their bonuses as a result of the merger. These choices hurt the 2017 Justice League considerably, as a lot of the rewritten scenes and visual effects had to be rushed in order to meet that November 2017 release. This ended up leading to some baffling decisions, such as Henry Cavill's Superman needing CGI to cover up a mustache that Henry Cavill had been contracted to keep for the filming of Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, when I reviewed Justice League in 2017, I was fairly positive towards it, as I think more people were than a lot of us cares to remember. I know for me personally, it felt as though the 2017 film would be the only Justice League movie that we'd ever get, even if it wasn't exactly the movie that I'd gotten excited for from all the trailers and build up from the previous movies. And to this day, I find that the 2017 film essentially exists as a fun Saturday morning cartoon, even if it is a wildly inconsistent mishmash of tones and story ideas. But at the time, we just didn't realize how much of Zack Snyder's work had been cut out or changed by Warner Brothers and Joss Whedon. Over the years, I'd be hearing all the different rumors about the Snyder Cut and what was actually removed. So finally getting to actually experience it is a surreal moment. And it is of course absolutely worth acknowledging the Release the Snyder Cut movement, whose fans would not only push for Zack Snyder's vision to become a reality, but also help raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for suicide prevention, which is a lot more than a lot of other film fandoms have done. This sincerity and passion for the film has seeped into how Zack Snyder has approached this 4-hour cut of the film, as what has impacted me the most since watching it is how much effort and care has gone into the character work. The extended time has done wonders in realizing genuine character arcs for the entire main cast, and it pains me to see how much was missed out on in 2017. Being as massive a movie as it is, it's a thrill to see so much focus being given to Ray Fisher's Cyborg in this version of the film, with Zack Snyder absolutely relishing and showing how powerful Cyborg actually is, with how much access Cyborg has to world technologies. On top of that, we're actually treated to experiencing Cyborg's origin and relationship with his parents, and how he spends the movie trying to find a new family in the Justice League. So much heart and emotion is delivered through Cyborg's existential struggle with his father Silas Stone, and the work by both Ray Fisher and Joe Morton is incredibly touching, and welcomes a strong empathetic connection with the characters. I honestly have no doubt in my mind that Cyborg's "I'm not broken and I'm not alone" moment of realization in the film will be echoed by fans for years to come. Ezra Miller's Barry Allen is given far more to do in the Snyder Cut, as apart from continuing to be the main comic relief for the film, we get a far greater sense of the Flash's powers in this version of the movie, and the exciting prospects that these new scenes could set up for the standalone Flash movie. It's also just really wonderful seeing Ben Affleck giving it his all to the Bruce Wayne role, and nailing this far more positive, inspired, and hopeful interpretation of the character that has developed and evolved from where Batman was in Batman vs Superman. Affleck is still my favorite Batman to this day, and I'm so happy to see a hopeful version of Batman that isn't being degraded like we saw in the Joss Whedon version of Justice League. In fact, it's really pleasant seeing a more subdued sense of humor that feels more natural with the tone that Zack Snyder is going for, and feels more appropriate to the characterization of each member of the Justice League, allowing for a much needed bump in levity from the previous Zack Snyder DC movies, but at the same time not resorting to what Joss Whedon does and just substituting genuine character development for funny quips. The use of Jason Momoa's Aquaman probably caught me off guard the most, as the character's more serious portrayal in the Snyder Cut is such a stark contrast to how Aquaman in his world is interpreted in the standalone Aquaman movie. And that's without mentioning Mera with a British accent. That was retcons in the 2017 Justice League. The interpretation of Wonder Woman in the Snyder Cut, though, may just be my favourite interpretation of the character outside of the first Wonder Woman movie. Finally, Gal Gadot is allowed to just be the Amazonian warrior that many of us have been hoping to see, especially as her standalone movies are becoming more family friendly. With the Snyder Cut receiving an R rating in the United States, Wonder Woman is allowed to excel in the action scenes, with Zack Snyder finessing the in-frame super speed action that we've seen in his previous DC films, and really allowing her to feel like this godly, superpowered being. It's always been clear that Zack Snyder views the DC characters as these mythological godlike beings that remain rooted in these philosophical struggles, which is why I've always enjoyed his approach to mythological world building in his DC movies. Additionally, the build up to the resurrection of Henry Cavill's Superman in this film feels incredibly earned. We spend a fair amount of time with Amy Adams' Lois Lane, actually grieving over the death of Superman, and taking consolation from other characters in the film about finding her place in the world without Clark Kent, which echoes Clark's dilemma in Batman vs Superman about discovering that Lois Lane is his whole world. So by the time that the Justice League comes to the conclusion that they have a means of resurrecting Superman, and decide to go through with their plan at the cost of alerting the enemy, it actually feels like enough time has passed for all the characters to make that choice a reality, and just adding more weight and purpose to Superman's participation in the fight with Steppenwolf, and making Clark Kent's reunion with Lois and Martha all the more satisfying. Plus, seeing Superman in his comics accurate black suit is absolutely everything for the people who have waited to see it in the film. The extra runtime spent around Superman's resurrection also helps in fixing some of the logic leaps present in the 2017 film, like the Justice League leaving one of the movie's all-powerful mother boxes completely unattended during Superman's revival. Speaking of Steppenwolf, boy is it refreshing to see him actually be an intimidating villain, with actual character motivations about wanting to get in with the good graces of his master Darkseid, and actually having the movie clearly explain to us what he wants with the mother boxes in the first place, and the power that they actually hold. Finally, Steppenwolf isn't some generic, forgettable CGI monster, and you actually feel somewhat empathetic towards his reasoning in the movie, despite all the bloody, violent carnage that he unleashes on the world, which is of course enhanced considerably by the extra violence granted by the R rating. Of course, one of the big main selling points of the Snyder Cut has been the much anticipated appearance of major DC villain Darkseid, who is as menacing and imposing as fans could have hoped for. Actor Ray Porter does a fantastic job at bringing the character to life through motion capture, and there are plenty of exciting Darkseid Easter eggs and teasers for DC fans to theorize over in the film. Sure, he's certainly used more to tease future Justice League sequels, and some of the newer scenes with Darkseid have some unpolished CGI in them, but it is really fun to see Darkseid in action, especially during the reworked Lord of the Rings scale history lesson, where we learn about the mother boxes and Darkseid himself. Now, the Snyder Cut was filmed in the IMAX ratio, meaning it is presented in a 4:3 aspect ratio on your TV. Obviously, if you've never experienced IMAX, then that choice isn't going to mean much to you. But what it does mean is it allows for the footage to remain uncropped, and you get to see considerably more of the frame. This choice in aspect ratio won't be for everyone, but I do sincerely hope that more filmmakers and studios take advantage of this approach in the future when they are planning home releases of their movies. Now, as the Snyder Cut clocks in at a mighty 4 hours, of course as a result of it skipping a theatrical release, it is incredibly helpful that the movie is divided into chapters with title cards to help people watching at home who just want to watch parts at a time. It's also worth mentioning that at one stage the Snyder Cut was seriously being considered to be released as a miniseries instead. Now, I know that the idea of spending 4 hours with a movie is daunting to a lot of people, but as I've just mentioned, it's designed to be watched at home, where you can pause the movie at any time and come back to it. Of course, the movie could definitely be shorter and more refined. The epilogue segment with the Joker definitely feels more like pure fan service, while also offering a tease of what future Justice League movies could have been. But the 4 hours that I spent with the movie honestly flew by for me, and as a result, the length of the Snyder Cut has made it feel like the ultimate DC movie for fans. This is absolutely the movie that I was so excited to see 4 years ago. I've always found that Man of Steel was about finding your place in the world, while BVS was about having your place in the world questioned. Now, Justice League feels like it's about being accepted into the world for who you are. And it absolutely helps that all three of these movies feed into each other, with the end of each movie forming the start of the next movie, allowing for these three movies to feel like one massive saga. For me, having a deep appreciation and respect for Man of Steel, it was everything to me to see the connections to that film with Junkie XL's score, adding some proud and triumphant twists to the Man of Steel music, as a means of giving some much needed closure to Henry Cavill's Superman, in case this is the last time that we see Cavill as Superman. For all the people that have opened themselves up to the themes and characters from these movies, the payoff in Zack Snyder's Justice League is everything, especially if you've been following closely since Man of Steel. If you are someone who hasn't been a fan of Zack Snyder's DC movies, then I'm not sure that this will win you over, but it sure feels like Zack Snyder wants to win you over with the Snyder Cut. If the new Restore the Snyderverse movement ever goes anywhere, I would absolutely love to see where the story might have gone for future Justice League sequels, even though those sequel plans are now fairly easy to read about online. I honestly just adore the mythology of these characters and this universe, and I'm always glad to spend more time in a universe with a creator who respects the importance of gripping mythology and world building. I will be rewatching Zack Snyder's Justice League for many years to come. This is the movie that I wanted to see in 2017, and I am so pleased that Zack Snyder got to achieve his vision for the film, dedicated of course to his daughter Autumn. Zack Snyder's Justice League won't be for everyone, but for me it absolutely delivered. Zack Snyder's Justice League gets a 9 out of 10 from me. Guys, I hope you like this review. If you want to see more reviews just like this one, stay right here for your Mono Fix. Bye guys.